Naomi Irion was kidnapped on March 12th in Fernley, Nevada. For 13 days, police searched for a suspect. 13 days after her disappearance, a suspect has now been arrested. Troy Driver is the Nevada construction supervisor accused in the kidnapping of Naomi Irion. In this episode, we share everything we have been able to find about Troy Driver. Hey everybody, and welcome to True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. This is Katie Weaver, here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey everybody.
How's it going?
Good, really good.
Good.
Loving the good weather, loving the being outside.
It is gorgeous. The piggies are so happy.
Oh, I bet.
So happy. Yeah. Except for they found a way to break into the greenhouse today. So now they're like really happy.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Good thing nothing's planted yet, but yeah, that's not going to work out.
No.
But, you know, life goes on. We are excited to let you know that we have finally released our first Patreon episode for the month. We've been promising it for a couple of weeks. We finally got our business together and got it out. It is a top secret episode. We can't even tell you what it's about. Mm-hmm. It is truly for patrons only, because otherwise we would be opening ourselves up to potential violence. So we are sharing it only one way. So if you are curious and you're a patron, go check it out. If you're not a patron, True Crime Paranormal on Patreon. But it's an interesting case that we will continue to track. But there is one way and one way only you'll find anything out about it.
Yep, and it will be on Patreon.
Mm-hmm. And
sometimes, as true crimers, we have to be a little careful that we don't get our own asses kicked. So this is one of those times.
We're lovers, not fighters.
Yeah, we're not much in the fighting, physical fighting department. No, we're bring it on. But fists, probably not.
No, but anyway, we may have piqued your interest, and if so, go check it out. In the meantime, this is our Tuesday edition, and we have plenty going on. So, Christy, I'm actually going to kick the mic straight over to you to kick us off with some WTF news.
Yes. Well, WTF. This is so sad. And there's been I don't even know what to call this. In Missouri, this happened just a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
A 12-year-old girl fatally shot her cousin, who was 14, and herself while on Instagram Live.
Yeah.
It was actually during a family party.
Mm-hmm.
Where like all the adults were off doing one thing and the kids were doing something else. The family is adamant that this was not a murder or a suicide, that it was a freak accident.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's pretty hard to go for when two people are shot. This happened about 2 a.m. on Friday, this past Friday. Police were called after hearing gunshots. Both children were deceased when they found them.
Yeah.
And they were alone in a bathroom. And it appears as though the girl shot the boy and then shot herself. Family still is, saying that they weren't arguing or fighting. This was just an accident. I don't know how, and I'm sure this is just them trying to face it. I don't blame them at all.
It's a horrible tragedy.
But it's very clearly not just an accident. It may have, the original shooting of the cousin may have been an accident. But when the 12-year-old young girl shot herself, I don't think that was an accident.
No, this is a really
Um,
tough one. Also,
yeah,
of course, the question always begs to be asked, whose gun was that?
yeah.
Whose loaded gun was that the kids had access to?
They're
Why
saying
does this keep happening?
they're saying that the gun belonged to the 14-year-old boy, except that 14-year-old boys cannot own guns. So where did
No.
he get the gun and ammunition?
Yeah.
So I'm not using
Because
the
he
kids'
didn't buy any of
names
that. No.
because it's just I don't want to use their names, but it's really sad,
No.
and it's just another reminder of how important it is that if you're going to have guns, they have to be locked up. Ammunition has to be locked up, kept separately. I mean, how did these kids have a gun to be fooling around with in the first place?
Well, honestly, it's yet another reminder that children should not have guns. I mean,
Yes,
come on.
definitely should not.
And look,
So we
we live
don't know.
in a hunting area. We live where kids do have guns for hunting.
Hmm.
And but they should, if kids have guns for hunting purposes or whatever, they should be locked up in a way that you can only access them if your parent helps you do so.
Right,
Just letting kids have free access to guns like this, when the hell are we going to learn?
right. Apparently, never is the way things appear to be at the moment. But this is
Yeah.
very sad for the family. It's sad for everyone.
Hmm.
Um, but it is just a good reminder again
Yeah.
to not allow your children to have access to guns. Kids don't necessarily understand the permanence of death until they
Yeah.
get a little older. Or, I don't know about you guys, but when I was 12 and 14, I was pretty much bulletproof as far as I thought of myself, you know.
Mhm.
I think a lot
Yeah.
of kids see themselves that way. And so it doesn't really cross their minds that they could actually die. And these two
Right.
did die. So,
Horrifying.
I know it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to kick it over to you for the main case.
Okay. All right. Well, in a missing persons spotlight last week, we brought you the case of Naomi Irion.
Yeah.
Naomi was kidnapped from a Walmart parking lot on the 12th of March, about 5 o'clock in the morning. She would go to that parking lot and wait for a shuttle bus from her job. She worked for Panasonic to come and get her and take her to work. And this
Yeah.
started out like a regular, normal morning. She stopped at a gas station and bought an energy drink and then pulled into the parking lot and sat in her car for a time. She was early, and
Hmm.
her family confirmed that she typically was early for things like to be early. And she was early and she was waiting. And the CCTV shows us that at some point, a man approached her car. This man, by the way, there's footage of him pacing that parking lot, really staking out that parking lot before she ever gets there.
Yeah.
And then approaching her car on the driver's side, opening the door and doing something. I'm going to assume he had a weapon, but we don't know for sure exactly how this happened because we
Hmm.
only know what we saw in the footage. Forcing her into the passenger seat, getting in her car, and driving away.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days later, her car was found in Keller Williams paint factory's parking lot and had been abandoned there. The police said there were signs of a crime inside of the car. That's all
Yeah.
they've said so far about
Kind
that.
of implying blood, I think.
Mhm. Pretty much off the bat, when they discovered that she was missing and they started working on it, they were looking for a certain pickup, uh, crew cab, newer truck. They had pictures of it. I'm going to share it with you guys too. And that's actually how they made an arrest, was from the truck. So the pictures of this truck were circulating as the pickup that they were potentially looking for.
Hmm.
And a neighbor noticed that their neighbor, I should say a citizen, noticed that their neighbor had a truck that looked just like that he drove every day. And about the same day that that picture started circulating, he pulled it into the garage and closed the door and started driving a work truck. And
Yeah.
they thought that that was weird.
Definitely weird.
And so they called the police. And it wasn't too much longer. It was a while. We're going to learn more as this starts getting into court. But they did finally then make an arrest. So they arrested this guy, Troy Driver.
Now, he looks to me like he's been in a fight with Mike Tyson.
Right? Missing the whole top
Of
of
one
his left
ear.
ear. Yep. Well, I'm going to assume he lost it in prison
Probably.
because he's done some time. So on Friday, they arrested him 13 days after Naomi went missing. They still don't have a clue where Naomi is.
No.
There's still major manhunts and searches going on for Naomi. Now, this happened in Fernley, Nevada, which is outside of Reno. There is vast desert area out there, and that's hugely concerning.
Oh, it is. It is. It's one of those that there's, thousands of acres of just nothing.
Mhm.
Her body
Now,
could be anywhere at this point.
the police have had several press conferences and released several documents. They've done really well at keeping the public informed, and the public,
They
the
really
people in
have.
that area, are on it. Yeah, but they said something that is a bit of a tell, I think. Initially, they said that the last time Naomi's phone pinged was in that parking lot the morning that she disappeared. But later they said that they had tracked another location due to a phone ping, which really made me wonder whose phone were they pinging? Because they had already said that her phone never pinged again after she left that parking lot. So how long did they track Troy before they arrested him?
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing it was a minute. I'm thinking that they
Mm-hmm.
were probably watching him to see if he
Would
did
he lead
something
to
suspicious, led
her?
them to Naomi. Yeah.
Yeah.
But eventually they did go ahead and arrest him and take him into custody. Naomi's mother said this morning in a press release that he is not talking, that he has not said a single thing. They don't know. They do not know. Now, and of course, to be very clear, Troy Driver has been he has been charged with kidnapping. That's the charge. He's only been charged.
Right.
He's only been
Innocent
charged.
until proven guilty.
Hmm. But I want to share a few things about Troy that we know. Also, he will be
Mm-hmm.
in court tomorrow, Wednesday, for a bail hearing. And that will be interesting because a lot of times at bail hearings, the prosecution has to start
Telling
releasing
a
a
little
little bit
bit.
of information. Yeah, enough to make the judge decide to keep him where he is. And his
Right.
past criminal record might do that for them. But
It may.
these little hearings, they're usually pretty quick and not super substantial, but sometimes they drop some pretty amazing breadcrumbs. So I'm very
Mm-hmm.
interested to see what happens. But before we talk about Troy, I just want to talk a little bit more about Naomi. Naomi was born on July 25th, 2003. Her hair is currently dyed black, but it's naturally brown. Her eyes are green. She's 5'11", so she's quite tall.
Mm-hmm.
Weighs around 230. She's female. She's white. She has a septum piercing and a smiley face tattoo on her right ankle. And she was last seen wearing a blue Panasonic company t-shirt, a gray cardigan sweater, gray pants, and brown boots. Her iPhone was an iPhone 10 or 11, they think, and it is yet to be found. But it's not pinging, so it's been turned off
Yeah.
for a while. So those are a few things to note about Naomi. She's only 18 years old.
Yeah. Mm.
So let's talk about Troy. So Troy has done time for being an accessory to murder. He helped with a murder of a meth dealer in California named Paul
Mm-hmm.
Rodriguez. This happened in 1998, I believe, or 1997.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, he and another kid witnessed Paul Rodriguez being shot to death in his family home by his 18-year-old girlfriend. And then Troy and another guy stuffed him in the trunk of a car and dumped it off of a highway.
Oh, wow.
So we know that, he's got a pretty violent past. We also know that he did some time in prison over that.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was actually in 1997. So he was sentenced to 15 years for those crimes. So this we know. We also know that there were surveillance videos, as I already mentioned, of Naomi both at the convenience store where she was picking up a drink, as well as the suspect walking around the parking lot. And they are kind of interesting. We shared these last week too, but I think they're interesting to see. Oh,
It's scary to think that he was waiting for her.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's what her family believes, that this had to have been a planned event.
Mm-hmm. That he had picked her in some way.
Mm-hmm. One thing we don't know is if she knew him.
Right. That's one question I have is, do
Now
they
he's in
actually
his
know each
early
other?
40s.
Mm-hmm.
That's the surveillance video that they have of somebody wandering around there right before she was kidnapped,
Mm-hmm.
stalking her, as they say. So, of course, we know that these are surveillance videos that came out, and then something really kind of terrible happened. On Friday, after he was arrested, an account started sharing these videos of somebody being loaded into an ambulance,
Yes.
saying, breaking, Naomi Irion found in an abandoned home in Reno, Nevada,
Yeah.
being brought to the hospital. And it wasn't true.
No.
And it shook everybody up. People didn't know what to believe. The Lyon County Sheriff's Office finally shared those on Facebook and said, this is a lie. This isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
But several of the words were spelled wrong. Nevada was spelled wrong. Ambulance was spelled wrong. Really makes you wonder, like, who the hell has this account? But at any
Yeah.
rate, she
Some
has
kind of
not been
clickbait from
found.
outside the US, maybe. That's
But
just
that was
what a thing to do to her family. God.
yeah, what a thing to do to her family. So that was absolutely terrible. So here's what we know about Driver. He has been working in construction and for a mining company as a safety coordinator. We know that at some point he lived in Elko, Nevada, but that he lives somewhere in the Fernley, Nevada area right now. We know that the truck has been impounded. The video I showed of you was, or the picture I showed was of the truck being carted away from the home, and that it's currently being processed. So we know this. We know, of course, that a neighbor called in a tip on the pickup.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there was suspicion of violence from her car, according to her family. Naomi graduated from high school in South Africa. She's lived all over the world. Her
Yeah.
father, I believe, is an employee of the American Embassy in South Africa
Mm-hmm.
and has 7 siblings. And they have, I think, mostly all of them, and her parents have flown to Nevada to search for her and to be a part of this. They've done quite a few press conferences, TikTok lives, Twitter. They've been all over social media. And of course, leading the charge to search for Naomi, out on the desert and things.
Yeah.
But it is a terrifying prospect here about where Naomi could be, and it's getting to be really scary because if he had her ditched somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And now he has been incarcerated since Friday. Where's
Yeah.
Naomi?
Yeah.
Where's Naomi?
If she were alive somewhere, I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty unlikely, honestly.
I don't think they would have arrested him if they thought he was tending to her somewhere.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that
which is
too.
why they followed him for a while. I'm sure they were trying to decide, is this,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And this is a pretty small town sheriff's office that's handling a very big case. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
they're doing a really good job
They
of
are.
trying to, keep the public abreast using good technology to be able to, answer their questions. And I just am really holding space that they will find Naomi. The FBI just today released a new poster as well as a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to finding Naomi. So they're just asking everybody, please look at her picture. And if Troy Driver is the perp and he was still at his house and in the area, you got to think that she is too, that she
Mm-hmm.
couldn't be too far.
Right. Right. Well, but he had a 13-day lead, you know.
A 13-day lead. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, if this person looks familiar to you at all, either of them, the FBI Vegas office, as well as the Fernley Sheriff's Office, are asking anybody who has seen him in the last 13 days to please
Mm-hmm.
call them so that they can put together a better timeline of where he's been
Yeah.
and what he's
What's
been
he been up
doing.
to?
And I think this guy's fairly hard to miss with that
That
gobbled up
ear,
ear. Yeah.
that's pretty distinctive. I think if you'd
hmm
seen this guy, you would remember.
I think so too. Yeah. So, but if you have seen him, or obviously if you've seen Naomi, to please reach out. There have been a few reports of sightings that ended up falling flat, which, how many times do people think they saw Brian Laundrie?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
people think they see things, and that's okay. It's okay to call in and turn in a tip that turns out to be wrong. That's fine.
mm-hmm.
Much better to do that if you think that you saw something than keep it under your hat.
Right.
So, that's where things stand with Naomi Irion. We will definitely keep an eye on that press or that the bail hearing tomorrow and see if there's any interesting
Definitely.
info that comes from that. And see where it goes from there. I am predicting no bail or a high enough bail that he's not going anywhere. I can't
Yeah.
imagine they're going to let him out at this point.
I
But it
mean,
depends on what kind of evidence they have to hold him too.
yes,
So
it's true.
we'll find out. Well, Christy, I'm going to turn the mic back over to you for a little more WTF crime.
Because we haven't had enough of that tonight.
Right?
Well, WTF. Do you all remember Susan Smith? Does this name ring a bell? She's been in prison a long time. Susan Smith, who is now 50, is eligible for parole in late 2024, which is hard to believe. So if you don't know who she is, on October 25th of 1994, she was 23. She reported that she had been carjacked by a black man. This is part of white women. Stop fucking doing this shit. Who had taken off with her two little boys in her car.
Yep.
So for 9 freaking days, and I remember this very well. I was a senior in high school when this was all going on. For 9 days, they're looking for the kids. She's making these pleas on national television. It's just gross. Her story finally starts to unravel, and she admits that she, in fact, allowed her car to roll into a lake with her little boys, 3 and 14 months, strapped into their car seats.
Yep.
She killed her children.
Yep.
So she's in prison in South Carolina. She's now 50 years old. And in just a couple of years, she is eligible for parole.
Unbelievable.
Now, she says her motive at the time when she killed her kids was that she was dating a man who didn't want children.
Mm-hmm.
And that was apparently more important than, excuse me, her little kids.
Yeah.
So she was convicted of 2 counts of murder, and her sentence is a life sentence. But, obviously she has some eligibility for parole coming up in 2024. And people
Which
are
is
very
so
torn
disgusting to
by
me.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she has a long distance boyfriend because, of course, she does.
Of
What?
course. Of course.
I mean, for real. And she's hoping to be freed in 2024 and just start over and build a new life with her boyfriend, without her little boys that she killed.
Well, they were such the inconvenience, and now she can be free of the whole ordeal.
Yeah. Ugh. I hope not.
So
I hope
gross.
not.
Right?
She's been in quite a bit of trouble while in prison.
What?
Drug use, yeah.
The rules
Drug
do
use,
apply to her?
self-mutilation, yeah, and sexual contact with a guard.
Oh, for God's sake. Of course. We have another case of the golden vagina here, don't we?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Mm-hmm.
In a letter she wrote recently to a newspaper, she said, "I am not the monster society thinks I am. I am far from it. Something went very wrong that night. I was not myself. I was a good mother and I loved my boys. There was no motive as it was not even a planned event. I was not in my right mind." The problem that I have with that was the story about the non-existent black man who carjacked your car, Susan Smith, because
Yes.
if you were really not in your right mind, you would not have then tried to conceal your crime.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
That falls completely flat for me with that
Yeah.
kind of an argument.
It does me as well. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're really just out of your head, then you don't try to cover up your crime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So apparently she's been trying really hard to be a good girl in prison so that she can be paroled in November of 2024.
Well, she's got that new life to make with her new boyfriend. Come on, man.
Right? And okay, boyfriend has 2 kids, which
Oh,
I would
God.
not want to allow her within 200 yards of any children of any age.
Usually it's women that we see with these
Yeah.
idiot murderers in prison that they are married to or engaged to or whatever. What
Yeah.
the hell is this guy's problem? Come
Right.
on.
Apparently he saw a documentary about her and then
Oh,
started writing to her. And the long distance romance blossomed from there. Obviously there are family members involved in this that are like, they don't want her to get out. They would like her
yeah.
happily ever after to be in jail.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a crazy thought to think that she has been incarcerated long enough at this point that she will be, and it doesn't mean she will be paroled. She has the opportunity to apply for parole, but we don't know, what the parole board is going to do with this, but it does make you a little sick, doesn't it? To think that she could just get out and start over in her 50s.
Yeah.
She still has a lot of life left.
Mm-hmm.
Not that her children do.
Yeah.
So
Ugh.
anyway, I thought that was some WTF news.
Definitely, without a doubt. Well, there you have it. That is our Tuesday episode. We're going to be back tomorrow for one more episode this week, as well as case updates Wednesday night, and they are piling up. And of course, the psychic hour on Thursday night.
Yes.
So we still have so much more to come this week.
We
So
surely
hang out
do.
with us, like, share, comment. You know the routine. Patrons, keep an eye on Patreon. 2 episodes dropping this week. Thanks for being here, guys, and have a good day. This has been yet another production of True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters.
Bye, everybody.